Well, folks, he's back. Like a bad rash, Donald J. Trump has returned to the Oval Office. This time, it seems, he's got a real chip on his shoulder. Maybe it's the lingering sting of impeachment or the constant chorus of fake news. Whatever the reason, President Trump kicked off his second term with all the subtlety of a monster truck rally. Flanked by his family and a sea of red hats, Trump took the oath of office, his face a mask of grim determination. Gone was the awkward fumbling of his first inauguration. This time Trump seemed to relish the moment. He knew the drill, he knew the lines, and he knew exactly what buttons to push. And push them he did. His inaugural address was a greatest hits collection of Trumpian rhetoric, promises of prosperity, warnings of danger, and a healthy dose of America first. His supporters ate it up, of course. Cheers erupted from the crowd as Trump painted a picture of a nation under siege, beset by enemies both foreign and domestic. He promised to restore America to its former glory, to make it strong, proud, and respected again. It was a message that resonated deeply with his base, many of whom feel left behind and forgotten in a rapidly changing world. But beneath the surface of celebration, there was a palpable sense of unease. Trump's first term had been a roller coaster ride of chaos and controversy. Now, with a fresh mandate and a point to prove, many wondered just how far he would go. If there's one issue that defines the Trump presidency, it's immigration. From the moment he descended that golden escalator, Trump has made it clear that he sees immigrants as a threat to America's very existence. And on his first day back in office, he wasted no time in doubling down on that message. With a stroke of his pen, Trump declared a national emergency at the southern border. It was a move that sent shockwaves through Washington and beyond. Critics accused him of manufacturing a crisis to justify his own xenophobic agenda, but Trump was undeterred. He insisted that the border was overrun by criminals and drug traffickers, and that only drastic action could save the country. The centerpiece of his plan? You guessed it, the wall. Trump promised that this time the wall would be bigger, stronger, and even more beautiful than before. He vowed to crack down on illegal immigration with a vengeance, reinstating the controversial Remain in Mexico policy, and threatening to cut off aid to Central American countries. The message was clear. If you weren't born in America, you weren't welcome. It was a stark departure from the country's long history as a nation of immigrants. And it sent a chilling message to the millions of undocumented immigrants already living in the shadows, many of whom had come to America fleeing violence and poverty. Trump's America First philosophy extends far beyond immigration. It's a worldview that sees the world as a zero-sum game, where America can only win at the expense of others. And on his first day back in office, Trump made it clear that he intended to put America's interests above all else, even if it meant alienating allies and upending decades of global cooperation. He announced plans to withdraw from the World Health Organization, accusing it of being too cozy with China. He slapped tariffs on goods from Mexico, Canada, and the European Union, sparking fears of a global trade war. And he vowed to renegotiate the Iran nuclear deal, despite warnings from experts that it could lead to a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. Trump's foreign policy, if you can call it that, is driven by a potent cocktail of nationalism, isolationism, and a deep mistrust of international institutions. He sees himself as a lone wolf, a strong man who can bend the world to his will, and he has surrounded himself with advisors who share his worldview, men and women who believe that America should be feared, not loved. The result is a foreign policy that is unpredictable, often contradictory, and deeply unsettling to America's allies. Traditional alliances are fraying, and the world is becoming a more dangerous place. But Trump seems unconcerned. He believes that America is strong enough to go it alone, to dictate terms to the rest of the world. It's a risky bet, one that could have disastrous consequences for America and the world. As the sun set on Trump's first day back in office, the world watched with a mixture of fascination and horror. In capitals across the globe, leaders struggled to make sense of the man who had once again taken the helm of the world's most powerful nation. Was this the same Donald Trump who had shocked the world 4 years earlier? Or had he become even more emboldened, even more unpredictable? The answer, it seemed, was both. Trump was still the same impulsive, thin-skinned narcissist who had dominated headlines for the past 4 years. But he was also a man transformed by power, a man who now seemed to believe his own hype. He had survived impeachment, a global pandemic, and a bruising election. And he had emerged from it all more determined than ever to remake America in his own image. The stakes could not be higher. Trump's second term promises to be a time of great upheaval, both at home and abroad. The world is watching, holding its breath, wondering what the future holds. One thing is certain, it's going to be a bumpy ride.